All right, today is July 23rd, 2026. So, yesterday here in Madison, Wisconsin, which is where I live, obviously, there was a police involved shooting that took the life of this individual named Corey Ruiz. Now, I first heard about it, and I was watching the news yesterday, of course, because the local news media here is ultra biased, has a really strong left wing bias. I'm not going to lie to you. And they didn't really, they obviously fabricated the story, and they only left out, certain details. And of course, now, even the national left wing media complex, they're doing the exact, no surprise, to come as no surprise, they're doing the exact same thing, just leaving out certain details rather than delivering the facts. So it should come as no surprise to you. So apparently, out here in Madison, there was Corey Ruiz, who was supposedly, trying to break in people's vehicles out here in Madison, and then police was called, and then next thing you know, in the case of the apprehension method, the cops were told to, the cops told him to literally stay where he's at, you know, and then he obviously resisted, but here's the shocking part: even upon resistance and fighting with the cops, he was obviously attacking, literally attacking the cop, where they had to pull out their tasers, which unfortunately failed. And of course, after that procedure, you've had, I mean, Mr. Ruiz called himself pulling out a knife and stabbed one of the cops. Now, that same cop, that one cop who got stabbed, he actually pulled out his service weapon and ended up shooting Ruiz, which hours later, he was pronounced dead. Ruiz succumbed to his injuries. And then a few hours after that, of course, protests were coming about here in Madison. These protests, the paid protesters that always like to say Black Lives Matter and all this other nonsense. Talking about, oh, we want justice this and we want justice that. For crying out loud, the suspect produced a gun. No, not a gun, a knife, while he was being apprehended. And apparently, he stabbed a cop in the process. And here's the thing: the cop had to do what he had to do to protect himself, so he would not, and using the gun, pretty much shooting down the suspect, Corey Ruiz, was literally the last resort. So I really do not understand for the life of me, especially with all of these. Given Madison is a liberal run cesspool, they think that the cops had no business supposedly killing the guy. And they only saying that nonsense literally because of his skin color, not necessarily because of his behavior. Now, obviously, I am here to call this a justifiable act. You know, the the shooting was literally justified. I mean, and there's no doubt about that. But of course, because of another shooting, another police involved shooting that has to take place, it obviously gets politicized to oblivion. Yeah, you had the Black Lives Matter protesters out there, making the claim that this was an unarmed black guy who got shot and killed by the cops. When the truth be told, the perpetrator was obviously armed. He had a freaking knife that he produced by the cop. I mean, that he produced right near the cop before he got shot. On top of that, the same perpetrator stabbed the cop, which resulted in that same cop, taking the matter and shooting down that perp. So, this obviously happens to be an FAFO situation. And yeah, so people are out there just protesting, just saying that that this was not justified. Well, it literally is justified because Mr. Ruiz literally played a stupid game, and as a result, he won a stupid prize. Why in the world would anyone produce a particular weapon in front of the cops, let alone stab them, let alone attack them with it? Now, people think that this is a mental issue. Well, it isn't a mental issue. And if it is, it's pretty demonic. Unfortunately for Corey Ruiz, he lost his life. But why are folks out there protesting against the guy? Is it really necessary? In my humble opinion, no, it's not. Because, I mean, I know those are out there who were protesting last night. And literally now all of a sudden it has become a nationwide issue. They literally make it all about race. And you know what? As a black individual, I'm getting sick and tired of this whole race nonsense. And here's another thing. Now that the gubernatorial election is coming here in Wisconsin, every single Democrat candidate for governor was making this all about was literally politicizing it. They literally called themselves demonizing the police involved shooting. Well, the unfortunate is that it's a tragic situation. But at the same time, this shouldn't be a political issue anyway, when in reality it's an individual issue. It's a behavioral issue. maybe, just maybe, I'm looking at you, Kelda Ruiz, Mandela Barnes, Francesca Home. Obviously, I'm not voting for you guys. I know that for a fact because I I see what policies you guys, you know, stand for, especially after doing my own research. But yeah, those same ones I've talked about. Francesca Home, Mandela Barnes, Kelda Royce, every single Democrat politician that's running for governor here in Wisconsin, they make it a political issue. Even the mayor of Madison, Satya Rose Conway, she literally called herself condemning the action. Well, no surprise there because Rhodes Conway herself happens to be anti-police. She literally showed her how she felt about being anti-police during the George Floyd riots. That was, which the George Floyd riots happened here in Madison as well, back in the height of the pandemic in 2020. I'm not going to lie to you. So, in the end, and I hate to sound like a broken record, and I'm going to say it like this, whether you like it or not, because I know there's going to be some retarded lefties that's going to attack this video. I know there's going to be some pro-blacks out there that's going to attack this video and demand me to be censored and canceled. But like it or not, the police involved shooting of Mr. Ruiz, the police involved shooting of Corey Ruiz was justified. You can piss, you can whine, you can holler, you can do a lot of this other stuff. But check the video footage for yourself. And of course, I know the black clergy, especially here in Madison, they're going to be talking about this issue in an upcoming sermon on Sunday. I mean, now, I'm just saying. They want to think that this is supposedly an act of systemic racism, which in reality, number one, there's no such thing as systemic racism. It's 2026, get that nonsense out of your head. And number two, maybe, just maybe, take a look at yourself and see what the heck you're doing. That's all. I'm Chuck Johnson, a.k.a. Kid Thunder. I am signing off.